Good morning, I'm Phil, I am the Down Under Maker. Hopefully my audio is actually working. Projects, you're not that weird. I'm just reading chat, everybody. Projects in Dad's Garage, like him and subscribe to him on YouTube. He's saying he's a bit weird. I'm not going to disagree completely, but just only slightly. Hi, Andrew. Hi, Jeff. Hi, Nick. Thank you, Nick, for trying to scare me and tell me things were broken and you hadn't even seen the stream yet. So, today's stream is a little bit inspired by Projects in Dad's Garage, who's here in chat. He was having all sorts of strange difficulties with his install of Raspbian Trixie on his Raspberry Pi. I'm not sure which model of Pi it was. Hi, Havoc. So I have had a different experience. That happens. So I figured let's give it a try on a Pi 4 because the unit I was trying it on was a CM5, which is completely different hardware, and see if I can either replicate the issues that he's having or maybe solve it for him. Either way, it's a win. So let's give that a try. Now, I do know that there is some tricks that you have to do to make Crow's Nest work, but I don't really use Crow's Nest, and as far as I'm aware, neither does Project. So we will go with not needing to worry about that for now. So bear with me for a second because I have an image of me up on the screen and it's really distracting. I don't want to look at it because I'm pretty enough without having to see myself twice. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be creating a whole new image for the Ender 5's Raspberry Pi 4. We're going to do it with a 64-bit Trixie, which is the latest version of Raspbian, and we're going to install via Kial and all the usual stuff that we do for setting up a new printer, and we're going to see if it works. If it does, awesome. If it doesn't, well, we'll try and troubleshoot, and if we win, we win. If we don't, we don't. But one thing I'm not going to be doing, and that is using my current SD card that already works, because why would I do that to myself? That would be silly. So before we start, let's remove the SD card for my Raspberry Pi because it's also currently switched off. And I'm going to put it here on my little lamp away out of the way so I can't possibly do anything silly. The other thing I've done is I've dug out my Better keyboard, which has glowy lights for you to stare at and get mesmerized by, but it also has a USB port in it, which makes my life easier so I can grab this SD card. So in order to do this, I've had to set up a couple of new screens and scenes on my OBS, so hopefully they all work and we'll just muddle through as best we can. Hi Jason. Hi Penguin. Like if you haven't already, subscribe if you haven't already, that would be amazing for me. I'm just about to hit 200 subscribers, which is 1/5 of the way to all of the cool stuff that YouTube lets you do. So, well, first of all, we're going to choose a device. Helps if I'm actually clicking on Raspberry Imager and not on OBS. Choose a device. We're going to choose a Raspberry Pi 4. Choose an OS. Now, the first default. You can't see it. It's an overlay. Okay, that's going to be fun. So when you open Raspberry Pi Imager and you click on that, you get a little pop-up, which is an overlay. Let's see if I can change the way this is doing things so you can see it. Currently a window capture. Can we do a display capture instead? That one. Select to display to capture. I'm going to throw it on that screen and I'm going to move my chat up here. Fortunately, I actually have 3 screens, so this hopefully should work. Can you guys now see the extra overlay? Yay, I hit 200. Thanks, guys. Can you see the new overlay? Nick, can you give me a yes or a no, please? Or anybody? Yep, that's working. Sweet. So I am going to be looking a little bit off screen for this because it's the only way I can make this work and you guys can see everything. So a port of Debian Trixie for Raspberry Pi desktop. That's what we're going to go. We're going to go with desktop. There's a reason for going with desktop. Desktop actually installs stuff that the Kiao will install anyway. Yes, there's a little bit of extra overhead, but it's by far the best way to do this. No storage devices found. Have I got this plugged in the wrong port? Is this micro SD card dead? Let's try a different USB port. There we go. Just not working off the keyboard for some reason. Hi, Clownhammer and John. Okay, so there's our 32 gig micro SD. Now this is going to take a few moments, so I'm sure we've all done this before. Edit settings, yes. We're going to call this Trixie. Helps if I press X. Yep, that's all fine. Save. Yes, I would like to apply. All existing data will be deleted. Yes. So let's go back to me. So what is everybody doing for Halloween? I've already raided my lolly stash for the trick-or-treaters. Not that we get many here. We're right on the edge of suburbs, so the kids don't tend to come all the way to the edge. Now, the reason for doing the full install is largely to skip a whole bunch of processes during Kiao, but this is the way I did it before and it was working, so I'm assuming there's some sort of voodoo going on that Kiao doesn't install but does get installed with the desktop version. You need to change your SSID. What's it currently called, Clownhammer? You're going to trick or treat with your 5-year-old. That'll be fun. I've got a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, and the 4-year-old is old enough to understand the concept of Halloween, but not old enough to be able to traipse up and down the streets yet. There's a Canadian lady who lives just around the corner, and she has an 8-foot spider on her lawn right now. So she's going to obviously be expecting a lot of visitors. You're giving it 145 Hot Wheels. Now that's a good way to do it. There's lots of parents here who are a little bit worried about lollies and treats for some reason. I don't quite get it. Sorry, lollies is what we call candy. It's really distracting having my chat up here, so I'm going to move it up here. So we're currently at 12% on the install. Let me see if I can rearrange this a little bit. That one. And if I do that, there we go. And hopefully now you can see everything that I can see. And we've got chat on the screen too. Yeah, the kids love them. 8-foot spider, that's a small, small for Australia. Oh, that's nice. The stores get involved too. Halloween isn't as big in Australia as it is in the US or the UK. In the UK, when I was growing up, we used to do, because in the UK, it's Halloween, and then like a week later, it's Bonfire Night, which is a celebration kind of like 4th of July with fireworks and all sorts of other stuff. And so what we used to do was we go to the store that sold all the fireworks, we chop them open, use the sparklers, you know, the little rod with the coating on it, and we use that as a fuse to make things that would go bang for putting through people's mailboxes. What's a lollygag? I have no idea. Makervar King, how are you? Isn't it the middle of the night for you? It's like, what, 3 a.m.? Really big near you projects. We're at 37% on this micro SD. Now, if I was smart and if I had more USB ports available on this Pi 4, I would have actually been using a SATA SSD or even one of my NVMe drives for this because it's so much faster. But I'm working on installing a USB hub to be able to run some of the ancillary stuff like the Klipper screen, touchscreen stuff, and the push buttons on the front of the printer. And then I can run those via the USB hub, and means I can plug in the solid state drive into the normal USB 3 port on the Pi 4. So that's probably what we're going to get up to next week. 250 kids 2 years ago, 175 last year. Wow. Yeah. Just to give you a little bit of a kind of a mental image of how it works. My house and the 4 or 5 neighbors either side of me, we are raised about 10 feet above road height. And you have to climb up a big flight of stairs to get to each of the houses. And nobody does, which is really good because it means we don't get all the people knocking on the door trying to sell you stuff. And we very rarely get the religious weirdos coming in trying to convert us to natural gas or whatever they want to convert us to. So, yeah. You've been up 34 hours straight. Now, Maker Viking, question for you. Seeing as you're already here, how do I turn down the number of emails I get from your site? Because I'm getting the same email over and over and over and over and over every day. And it's always that damn Projects Guys testimonials. I mean, he's a nice guy, but I don't want to hear from him every day. Yeah, people here are lazy, Nick, especially in the summer. Why would you get out of the car into the heat to climb up a 10-foot flight of stairs? We're in a small town, but in a neighborhood. I wanted a property. Well, I fell in love with the house. Yeah, I get it. When we bought this place, we'd actually looked at the plot of land about a decade earlier, but we just couldn't afford it. And then we came back a decade later. My wife's father had just passed away, and we wanted to be a lot closer to where her mum lives. And so we were just driving by, saw the for sale sign on this particular lot, and went, let's go have a look. We both looked at it and went, this is the one we looked at last time that we really wanted and couldn't afford it. And yeah, so we put an offer in for cash, and the lady who was selling it, she'd been trying to sell it for 4 months and hadn't been able to. So she just took our lowball offer, and we were like, score! Just have a look. Yes, you're a little bit late, Beardy, but that's okay. You're probably just arriving in time for a normal Steve Builds raid-in. Steve's like, wait for the end of my stream, and I'm like, okay. And then he's like 10 minutes into my normal stream window. But that's all good. It's nice of him to raid in. And it's just gone over to verifying. Now, if I was being a good kid, I would verify. I can't be bothered. So, Raspberry Pi OS 64-bit has been written. Click continue to eject. Now, let's go to Sidecam. Let's just show you what's going on with this thing. Ah, that camera's crashed. Okay, hopefully that's now working. Yep. So this was the electronics case that I'd been working on. This was actually a modified version of what's on here now that I'd acquired from Printables, and I'm going to upload my remix version when I get there, but this kept breaking and a few other bits and pieces weren't right, and I kept breaking these wiring retainer lugs off. So it's going in the bin once I've reclaimed those heat sets. What I'm using is the original file from Printables, and I was experimenting with, you can't really easily see them. See if I can point it out, move that cable out of the way. You might be able to see there's a little mark here. That's where I was experimenting with designing my own loops for installing cable ties. And sort of worked, sort of didn't, but I learned a whole bunch from it. So I'm going to replace that yet again, but I wanted to make sure it was all in place to make life easier today. So HDMI, Type-C power input, because that then goes through the proper voltage regulator and saves a bunch of mischief going on with the CPU, especially when I keep blowing things up when I plug it in via the GPIO. Spare cable that belongs to something else. And yeah, that's where we're at. So my current thinking is, the way I've designed this, I can actually screw into the top here, because this is just a, these are just standoffs. I'm going to set it up so that I can screw down, put standoffs on here, and then screw a lid on from the top. That's my current thinking. I've simplified it all. Going to make it a lot more compact, I hope, too. And I need to tidy up all the wiring. But what I've done is I've just installed the micro SD, so let's boot this sucker up. Let's turn this around. Because then, hopefully you guys can watch the screen as it does things as well as me. Now, did I remember to enable SSH? No, you don't have to verify it. Verifying's for weirdos. No. Should you in principle verify it? Yes. Do I bother most of the time? No. And it's not going to affect it either way, whether you verify or not. All verifying does is it runs a hash over the content on the disk and compares it to a known hash, and whether it's the same or not. Loading, loading, loading. Always YOLO, Nick. Always. And that's doing the reboot. Now it's resized the partition. So for those who don't know, when you, I've just noticed that this is upside down. That's not the one I went to rotate. Oh, that's all broken now. Let's fix that one. Okay. Let's not mess with it. Okay, so we are at a desktop. You might not be able to see that because of the brightness, but basically it's saying on the screen that it's all ready to go. Now, let me find my phone so I can find the new IP address of the new SD, because it might have changed. For those of you who've never seen Unified Dashboard, Trixie, there we go. 91. So let's go to PuTTY for a second. Trixie.local. Accept. Change settings. Appearance settings, and we found out last week that you guys really like it when I do a 16 font size. And we're in. So let's go to the other way I like to do this and go here and that one there. That one is on that one. Okay. So I was just checking because they've changed a few details on the way formatting works for micro SD cards. And the SD Association is the licensing body for SD cards and micro SD and all that sort of memory. They have a formatting tool which you can use to sometimes resurrect damaged cards. But we're going to be using Kiao. And scrolling down, they say to do it that way. I don't like to. And on this view, the keyboard's the right way up. I have no idea what's going on. And that part's done. Step 2. Now, I'm just going to breeze through this pretty quickly because I'm guessing that 90% of my viewers have already done this sort of stuff before. But for those who don't know, if you do a search for KIAUH and GitHub, it will then bring you to this site and you just scroll down a little bit to the instructions. Enter. Okay, so what are we going to install first? From memory, they say to start at the top and work down. So let's install Klipper first. How many instances? We're just going to do 1, so we can hit enter. Create an example printer CFG. Nope, because we are going to copy across the stuff from the other SD card in a minute. Bye, Maker Viking. Sorry if you've already gone. Is the Discord link not working again? Why can't you use 128 gigabyte cards? Because you keep preferring to use 32-bit. Dude, 64. Always 64. Thanks, Nick. Now, over the next couple of weeks, Nick and I are going to get together, and along with a couple of my other mods, including projects, and I'm going to walk them through how to change my camera views. So I'll give them a list of commands that they can use. So if I'm on the wrong view and keep forgetting to change it, they'll be able to do exclamation mark something or other, and it should just swap it over for us. But I've set it up a little bit wrong, and it's not working reliably yet, so we'll get there. Exclamation mark fart. Dude, I'm never going to enable exclamation mark fart. Okay, maybe Nick, because we're trying to keep this reasonably family friendly, we'll do what they do on Bluey, and I'll put exclamation mark fluffy for you. Now, for those who are joining my Discord, I'm warning you in advance. It's reasonable. There's one channel that's reasonably adult content related, and it's marked that way. That don't go in there if you don't want to see it. But the memes we post are reasonably open slather. But I ask that if it's going to get somebody a HR incident at work, that you spoiler it. Shart, dude. Okay, still going. Now, this would be an awful lot longer if we didn't already have the full desktop version installed. So we have shortcutted this process a little bit. Shut is PG, dude. Doopy doopy doo. Insert elevator music here. I suppose what I could do is I could bring up the you see that works, but what command have I got it set to? Cancel. Nick, can you do exclamation mark all three, all lowercase for me? No, it's not working. I need to work. I'm not. When I test the button, it works, but when I do the the commands via chat, it's not working. Bluey is the best. My favorite episode is the one where Bandit is talking to Honey's dad, I think. Honey's the golden retriever. No, Honey's the beagle. Talking to one of the other dads, and it's quite obvious they're talking about vasectomies. And I just cracked up laughing. I was like, no. They've snuck that into a kid's show. It's installing all the Python stuff, so that's a good sign. We're getting close to the end, I think. Yeah, the grown-up stuff that they sneak in is amazing. Do I want to add Pi to the user group? Yes, I do. Okay, so now we're going to install Moonraker. No, I don't want to install a Moonraker conf. Yeah. Bandit is pretty much dad goals. If you compare it half as good as Bandit, you're probably doing okay. Although the guy who voices Bandit apparently is not the best to be interviewed. I've seen an interview with him where he's on American chat show. This might be Colbert or one of those ones. And he pretty much obviously doesn't want to be there. A whole bunch of Pi wheels being installed. The other one that inspired me was Lucky's Dad's Rules, the Pass the Parcel game, and there's only one prize in the middle. I did that for my kid's birthday. There was some tears, there was some acceptance, but all the parents were like, dude, you got away with it. Apparently, Beardy, because this leaked out from the studio, it's not one set of voice actors for the kids. They constantly transition through. They basically replace them every 3 or 4 episodes. 3. Download the recommended mainsail config. Nope. Configure for port 80. Yes. GTR. Yeah, it's one of those things, Biddy, where I think if that way, even if it does leak, one set of kids did a couple of episodes, it's not really going to change their lives or make life hard for them. So we've got mainsail installed. We don't need the config. Let's go for Klipper screen. And just for giggles, we'll see if Crow's Nest will install or if it errors out. Because install as standalone. Default is yes, let's go with that. Do we want Wayland or Xserve? Xserver. Now, in a minute, it might offer us to install some network management stuff. My answer is always no, because every time I've installed the network manager stuff, it's done strange things. But I've not done Trixie on a Pi 4, so I don't know if it's going to do it or not. It's installing a whole bunch of codecs, so we might get lucky. It could also be that the people who are having trouble with it, it's since been fixed. You're on a win then, Nick. At least they're not quoting Paw Patrol scripts. My 2-year-old, he's in a Paw Patrol phase, and all we hear at the moment is, because his English still he can't talk fully yet, all we hear is troll, 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 because he wants Paw Patrol on. It's like, must we? Yes. One thing I've noticed projects with the mainsail guys is they're very conservative and they want to test everything to the nth degree before they agree to go with it. It was like 6 months before they even recommended Bookworm, and Bookworm was working fine for everybody for all that time. So it's not that I'm disagreeing with them. I'm just saying that they're very conservative in testing things before they endorse it. Oh, okay. I tried to tune it out, Nick. Barney's gone. Well, a few of you who are on my Discord saw Petty's reaction to the Elmo meme. So, yeah. When I saw that one, I was like, I have to post it for you guys. Installing dependencies. Okay, while we're waiting for all this to go through, let's talk you through a few things that I've been working on with the printer. Number one, I found a typo in the pinout diagram that is currently on Bigtreetech's GitHub and Wiki, which talks about the hot end fan pin. It's wrong. So I've submitted to them that they need to fix it. They've yet to do it. Last I looked this morning, but that should be fixed any time. The CFG file is correct. It's the pinout diagram that's wrong. Other things I've been up to. I have been measuring up for installing a cartographer onto it. If we've got that spare USB port, we may as well use it. So, Bright Ride cartographer. I should probably swap them over because I've got a black one on the Voron. And put the black one on here. So what happened was, The Aussie supplier said he had them on back order. And do I want to install Network Manager? This is what I was talking about. Sorry, I'll come back to what I was saying in a minute. Do I want to install Network Manager panel? Absolutely not, because that's what has been leading people into all sorts of grief. And let's install Crow's Nest and see what happens. So, back to what I was saying. Yeah, the Aussie reseller of the cartographers, he had them on back order. And I was like, I need this replacement cartographer. So I ordered one from Cartographer Direct, because with them being overseas, I was expecting that to take like 10 days to turn up. It turned out that the Aussie seller sent me one, and the Chinese one sent me one, and they both turned up within 4 days. It was like, damn it, I could have waited that long. But I ended up with two. So there's one on the Voron, and this one's been sitting here spare the whole time. Other things going on here, I have made myself up a cable which I've put somewhere, which is for the filament sensor. Put the camera up. Side cam. So on the side of the APUS 2, there's a filament sensor socket. So I've made up a small cable ready to go on that. Oh, there's the cable. I just need to put the GST-PH plug onto it. And I've also fixed the RGB lighting because it was doing strange things. I'm not quite sure what it was, but I resoldered all of the wires. Maybe I had just a very tiny short between the ground and the data pins on one of them. But yeah, as soon as I resoldered it, the lights all came back on and everything's fine. So yeah, that's where we're at. Let's go back to... I'm seeing lots and lots and lots and lots of errors here. So I'm guessing this is a no bueno. W error wall. Lots of deprecation stuff. Failed, failed, failed. Some successes. I suspected this might have been a bridge too far. Barney was Satan's dinosaur. I can honestly say that never had the misfortune of having to see Barney. Sherry Lewis and that crazy puppet was played ad nauseum on one of the kids' channels for a while, but the only dinosaur I know is Dorothy the dinosaur off the Wiggles. Looks like we're making reasonable progress. It's installing all of the codecs. So maybe all those errors are being bypassed by this other install because it's compiling as well. This is the song that never ends, dude. This is the song that doesn't end. It goes on and on, my friend. I've just made it twice as bad, haven't I? Sorry, guys. %, 90%. Now, the key reason for me wanting to print a cover to go over the electronics is not to protect it as such. It's so that I can actually mount a fan. I'm probably going to put a fan in on the top. So actually, let me rephrase that. I'm going to put it on the end. Let's move the camera. So I'm probably going to put a fan that sits here. I've got a whole bunch of 40-40 fans so that it blows down across everything, keeps both the drivers cool and the chipset cool. Please forgive those wonky heat sinks. I'm going to retape them when I get a few spare minutes. Do you want to add update manager to Moonraker Conf? No, because we don't have a Moonraker Conf, if you guys remember. Do you want to reboot the machine now? Yes. Let's turn this way. And we'll see if Klipper screen comes online. It's thinking, it's thinking. Floppy baby shark when? I agree with that, Nick. I endorse that statement. It didn't load. Have we got an error? Oh, something's going on, still processing. Might have been a first run issue. And we've got Klipper screen. So that's a win. Right. Let's go here. Go restart session by, and we're in. So we currently have a command line back there. Let's get rid of all of this and go to that for a second. We don't want hands plus me, we want, I don't know what we want. Let's leave it here for a second. We need all my configuration files. So let's go to here and go Trixie.local. Now that won't let us all the way in, so let's go to that one. Now you just need to bear with me for a sec because I need to change that setting to go there. Because there's no moonraker.conf, it can't load. That's what's going on. Maybe I should have installed that Moonraker and then replaced it. Probably would have been the sensible thing to do. Okay, you haven't missed much projects. We are up to the point where we have successfully got Klipper screen to load. But we have no moonraker.conf and we have no Klipper configuration files, so we're currently stuck at that point. So how are we going to do this? Probably the easiest way is going to be to open up WinSCP. And it's still thinking. Okay. And we're going to go Trixie.local. Strange things are going on. Bear with me, fellas. Right, let's give you a view so you can see what's going on. Let's go to that one and reuse it. Display. Let's go to okay, you can see what I'm seeing. Yes, we want to accept that key. So we are in. We need to go to we're in home/pi, which is where we should be. There's Klipper. There's config. So that's the example files. No, that's not what we're looking for. Does anybody remember the file path for where the config files are stored, or do I need to jump into another machine and look? Let's jump into my Voron and we'll look there. There's just another folder called config. And then there's a folder called config examples. Okay. Take a deep breath, Phil. Somebody's trying to tell me something in chat. Let's have a look. Design one with a card. If you do that, Beardy, there's a Darude Baby Shark mashup that would absolutely be the best way to go. So it starts with Baby Shark, do, and then it breaks across into Darude Sandstorm. That's the way to do it. Oh, there's, yeah, you could always put the Muppets on there. That would also work. So I've got myself a little bit lost and confused. So let's try something a little different. Let's go new session. Let's go to Voron. Let's log in. So what we're looking at now, everybody, is the Voron's Raspberry Pi. And I'm just having a look here to see how it's laid out here. So that is normal. Nope. Does anybody remember where the default folder file location is? Aha, printer data. It's okay, so let's go back. Pi. So that is most definitely the Voron. So we need to go to the end of 5. Let's go back up to Pi. Printer data. Config. Now let's go to my I keep trying to click things on my OBS window, which isn't going to help us. So we're going to go desktop. Let's save it to the desktop. I hope I didn't, because that would be bad. Browse, downloads. That's sorted alphabetically. Let's sort by last changed. I can't see what I'm looking for here. Let's go back to desktop. Okay. Cancel. I'm just going to leave you guys looking at that screen for a minute while I find where I put those files that I downloaded. Config, there we go. Copy. New folder. E5. I think I know what it is, because it was in a zip folder. The zip folder wasn't visible. That will make more sense. So let's close that one. Let's close that one. Let's go to my desktop now. E5. And we're in. Okay, so HBB CFG, copy. Sonar, copy. Print macros, copy. CFG, copy. Main cell, copy. Klipper screen macros. I'm going to delete the old one and bring across the original one. And let's go back to putty, and we're going to go sudo restart. Well, did they rename the command? All right. I'm back. Okay. So where we're at is I'm currently restarting the machine, and we'll see what happens. Splash screen for now. This is the downside of having it installed this way. You get the script. You can turn it off apparently. The other thing you can do if you wanted to, and this is what I do for a lot of these schools, I do custom installs and modifications for. I actually install the school's logo as a splash screen during boot up to make sure that it's a lot harder for people to steal their. Cannot connect to Moonraker. Did I forget to copy the moonraker.conf? So ls printer data. Oh. So I'm just jumping into the forgot to copy across moonraker.conf. Moonraker.conf. Let's do a refresh here. And you'll see we now have a moonraker.conf as well. So let's try a retry. Put the letters in. Oh, we've got security errors, which is a win. So MCU is unable to connect. Firmware restart? No. Let's go to machine and go printer.cfg. Now these files that we're using are pre some of the changes we made the other day. So the MCU is this one. Scrolling all the way down till we find the MCU section. And Control V. Save and restart. And now we should get another error. Maybe we won't. Depends what includes I've got set on this one still. Aha, don't have an include for the EBB Gen2. And we also have to delete out the extruder. I'm not going to delete it out. I am just going to go Control there. And so for those who don't know, Control and / will automatically hash out the highlighted text. So we need to include EBB I call it EBB 42 Gen 2. We'll check in a minute. .cfg. Let's just do a save and close and check what we actually called it. I didn't copy that across. That was before we made the backup. Well done, Phil. Let's do something a little bit sensible. Let's go to BTT EBB GitHub. And now there's a Gen 2 folder for everybody to use, EBB 42 Gen 2, and there's the sample config. So let's copy the raw file, go back, that's the forerun, so let's get rid of that so don't accidentally muck anything up. MCU hotkey is unable to connect, so we need to fix that in a minute too. So we need to go create a file, EBB 42 gen2.cfg, and Control V. Now, remember I was saying at the beginning of the stream that they'd got the pinouts wrong. The pinout in the CFG file is right. It's the other stuff that's wrong. Don't need to worry about any of that stuff for now. I haven't enabled the filament detector. You don't need the stealth chop line anymore. You just hash it out. This 2DW is already set. And let's go devices, USB, EBB Gen 2. Isn't this easy? Now we know exactly what we're looking for, now that we've actually named these MCUs something useful. Now, it's not just that. I think we need some more information. So let's go to putty and let's go load putty up on my screen here. And we need to go CD. Actually, maybe just go to. Let's go to Kiao. And we can do 4. And we can go get MCU ID from here. And we know it's an RP, no, it's not an RP2040, it's the, that's what we needed. It's the STM one. So now we go here. So that we can save. We need to go back to the HBB config. We need to go devices and we need to change that to E5 buttons. Sorry, I know that some of this is hidden behind chat. I'm not sure I can move it. No, I can't. There we go. That's a better way to do it. Control C, close, and replace that nasty serial number with that. Save and restart. Let's see what happens. ADC is out of range. We know about that. That's not the end of the world. So let me explain what's going on. You can't probably hear it, but the fan on the hot end just went mental because it thinks that the printer is in a huge over temperature situation and it's forced the machine to shut down. I'm just changing the thermistor type to PT1000 to match what it actually is. And hopefully that should solve that. Machine, EBB 42. Well, on the plus side, it does mean that the hot end fan is working. So we've definitely got that pin sorted out. I need to change this anyway, so let's fix that. Captain Australia, his shield is Tasmanium. So the extruder temperature is still out of whack for the MCU EBB ADC out of range. Let's just go back and check printer CFG, make sure I've not missed something. that's the heated bed, so there's nothing there. I need to get rid of the BL touch section anyway, so let's minimize that. Now, I don't know if anybody knows, having a blank line at the bottom of your CFG file can cause mischief, so I'll just point that out while I'm here. Never leave a blank line, always make sure it's got the #*#. Let's save that. So it's not in here, I don't think. An MCU EBB shutdown, ADC out of range, sensor extruder showing a temperature of -254. Let's, for fault finding purposes only, go into here and set the minimum temperature to -255. Unknown pin chip name probe. So we've solved the temperature issue at least. I really should have done a backup of that CFG file on the other. Any suggestions, guys? It thinks it's negative. No, I haven't installed the cartographer software. This is a clean install. Hi, Steve. Steve, we've got a really interesting, weird thing going on. We're currently building on Trixie. We're not currently experiencing any directly Trixie-related faults that we can find. We've got a temperature issue on one of the temperature sensors that we can't yet resolve. And it's telling us we have a probe issue. So I'm just going through and trying to find any mentions of probe so that we can... No, that's not going to be it. Let's just hash those out because they're not relevant right now. Yeah, I went and visited Steve and Bill Brothers and a bunch of the others on Steve's Discord for a minute. The color was all blown out of one of my images and I got them to help me work out what was going on. Let's do something sensible. Let's hash out this one, just in case it's something in that macros file that we don't need to worry about right now. Well, it's not in the macros, so that's good. We can rule that out. It's not going to be in the main cell config, I wouldn't think. probably the EBB Gen2 file. Let's have another look at it. Save and close. Control F, probe. There's no mentions of probe in here at all. How could we get this resolved? Let's take this all out of the equation, guys, and go shut down for a second. Just waiting for the activity light to go off on the Pi, which it has. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy across the CFG file we know that already works on this machine. And we're going to replace that printer CFG. So now we need to go off and back on again. But I shouldn't need a probe. I've got all the BL Touch stuff. Maybe. I know the CFG file that's on this SD card definitely does work, so. So we're on the end of 5, and as you can see it boots, and all the temperatures are sensible. So machine, printer.cfg, and download. And it's downloaded it as printer1s.cfg, so that's fine. Let's then shut this down again. Activity light is off. Put the good SD card back. Get our experimental SD card and power it back up. Loading, loading, loading. Give you something to look at other than me. So Steve, just to bring you up to date, after talking with some people who know an awful lot more about Raspbian than I do, they suggested that the reason some people have trouble with Trixie and Klipper and some of the functionality is that they don't have the desktop version installed, and installing the desktop version addresses a bunch of the issues that people have been having. Projects has had trouble running Trixie, and he's always been using 32-bit versions as well. So the whole object of today's stream is to see if we can troubleshoot this to the point where it works. But I don't want to bog us down with silly CFG file stuff. So machine, let's rename that printer dead.cfg, so we know it's definitely not going to be in the way. Let's upload a file from my downloads. Rename. I'm just going to upload this. and then rename it on the printer. And it's not going to show up because of the... Let's try this. Downloads. Rename. Cancel. Sorry guys, I should have swapped screens. That one. Upload a file. Printer123.cfg. Rename. Seems to be fine. Save and restart. Let's see what happens this time. Macros.cfg does not exist. So let's hash fill, hash, save and restart. Okay, we're up, we're running. So let's have a quick look at what's going on with our screen. Moonraker warnings. Failed to load extension main cell clock config. But that still seems to be working. So let's try the basics for now. Let's warm up the extruder, shall we? You guys can see that, so that's fine. Let's go just for something simple and go 55 degrees, which should be enough to trigger the hot end fan, which it does. So that hot end isn't warming up, is it? And we're going to get a shutdown. Verify heater. Okay, so we've got something strange going on, but I think that's not related to Trixie. I think that's my bad wiring or something. Yes, it's my bad wiring. So I've had a crimp come off. Let's shut the printer off, because the last thing I want to do is blow up this Gen 2 board. Let's get myself a screwdriver. That one. And let's go here. So what's happened, guys, is the crimp has come off inside the, I think this is a microfit, whatever it is. The crimp has come off. It's where I get to bring out the Microfit 3 removal tool. Thanks, Steve. that way or that way? I'm assuming it's that way. That doesn't feel right. You know what? It's going to take longer to fix that than it is to replace the whole thing. I was hoping that this wouldn't turn into a big hardware fixing situation, but such is life. Microfits. So that's the pins I'm going to need. That's the plastic. There's my strippers. Let's start off with some fresh wire. That was a bit long already, so I'll go with that much. Hit that like button. Thanks, projects. That's all right. Go to sleep, man. Get some rest, then you can practice this tomorrow and tell me where I screwed up. One. Ha ha ha. Sorry, Halloween reference. And Muppet reference. Or is it Sesame Street? I forget. Now, even though I've got new glasses, these are still a bit small for my eyes. I've been finding that my iris crimper has been crimping the little wings a little bit. Cut this to the right length. Get rid of that. Check the wings on this one. Why am I stabbing myself when I have a razor blade I can cut my fingers off with? I'm gonna do it, I might as well do it on camera, hey? So that you may not be able to see it. Focus. Come on, try and focus at least. There you go, you can just make out the two little wings are sticking out. Now, for the other end, Just double check I've got the right crimp size. Yep, that's the right one. That's it. That kind of crimper is here somewhere, hopefully. There. One thing that I've started doing a lot better since I've been streaming is I might be crap at putting stuff away off my desk in terms of just normal stuff, but I'm a lot better at putting tools away where they belong. One. Two. I think I've just got a notification to say that my latest AliExpress delivery has just arrived. So maybe we'll have something cool to play with next week on stream. One. Oh, don't drop that in your keyboard, Phil. Two. You're a chaos goblin. I try not to be because I'm trying to teach my students not to be. Son of a... Take a breath, Phil. I'm going to see if I've got a pre-made up cable already. So I'm just here in my massive box of silly cables, looking to see if I already have one of those cables made up. Nope, that's not it. That's not it. That's also not it. That's one I've chopped into already. Sorry guys, just trying to work this through. Aha! Is this the right way around? Yes, it's the right way around. Has the right kind of plug on it. Also the right kind of thickness, right kind of gauge of wire too. And it's black. And it's got high temp silicon insulation on it too. Yep. Definitely high enough spec. Slight twist. That's the wrong crimp. The grey ones are fractionally narrower and it fits, so I'm going to go with that. Now the downside of this silicon wire is it's got a huge strand count, which is good for conductivity, but it doesn't insert into the crimps as easily. No, I agree with you on that. Hi, Additive Adam. I definitely agree with you on the fiberglass insulation stuff, but the red one I've been using is the fiberglass wrapped around a rubber interior, and it seems to be semi-adhered to the rubber interior. So it seems to strip nicely. So Additive Atom, for catching up on what's going on, we're installing Raspbian Trixie on a Raspberry Pi 4 in 64-bit mode because projects in Dad's backyard had been having trouble with it and he couldn't get it to work. And I kind of shoehorned the whole concept of Trixie or treat being close to Halloween, and we then found out that one of my crimps had failed on my hot end. So that has derailed us a little bit. What I'm going to do now is plug these in, hopefully, and get us back on track. I accidentally crimped that a bit much. Oh, catch you, Jeff. Let's go to here. And go to that camera. Not quite sure. I know why it's so dark. That should be a lot better to see. Turn this a little bit so you can stand half a chance of seeing what I'm doing. Yeah, these grey crimps are just a fraction of an inch narrower and they fit so much easier into this hot end output. One of the things I wanted when they changed the boards around was a different hot end output. One of the things they wouldn't relent on, they absolutely wanted screw down. But I tried. Might need to undo that screw a little bit more, I think. There we go. Okay, sidetrack hopefully fixed. Let's jump back to Chrome. Let's boot it back up. What makes you think that Brad might be helping them fix some of those issues that they had with the outage last week? Was it the week before? Okay, so we've got the hot end has come on. ADC out of range. The temperature's now wrong. Have I, in the process of doing that, screwed up the... Okay. Shrimp Father! Martin, how you going? We've been trying to do a software stream and ended up with a hardware stream, and I keep doing things which break things even more. Yep. At least this one should be an easy fix. Oh, hi, Stephen Paul. Sorry, I didn't see you come in. Let's go to... So the crimps have just popped out of the plug on the thermistor this time. I have to admit, I am not the biggest fan of these pH sockets that you get supplied. Not sockets, the plastic bit. Sorry, I know this keeps disappearing off camera. I'm trying to get this nice. Honestly, it feels like this is a different brand of crimp to the plastic surround that they've supplied. It's just the insulation has got a bit squished and got fat. You should see it all. Nick, I have 1,000,001 crimps, I swear. That's just not wanting to sit in there. Let's see if it works. Sorry, I know I'm off cam and I can't be bothered going back to push it back in. All right, thermistor port. Inserted. Microfit reconnected. Let's power it up and see what happens. I am back. Now, there's a very good reason to always put these back in the box. The prongs on the end are super duper sharp, and I've had one go under my fingernail before. Cursor, command prompt. Why are you not loading Klipper screen? Oh, there we go. Just a cool while. And we're in. Yes. All right, let's go back to that one. Let's try warming up this hot end this time. 55 degrees. And it heats up. Let's try 60 degrees on a heated bed. Just stress this out as much as we can. And while we're doing that, let's go side cam. Let's adjust it and bring it out a bit. Lost communication with MCU. Now this is the fault that Projects was getting, and a few other people have reported. So we are repeating the issue he's been saying he's been having. Let's go to the Klipper log. Keep and open. Sorry guys, I have to just clean up what's going on up here. Close, 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 close. Okay, that can stay. Super slice can stay. And let's go to so we're currently looking at the Clippy logs. This is just all the CFG files that were active at the time. Okay. That's all those errors where I didn't have my apologies if anybody has epilepsy and this is messing with them. Okay, that's still those errors. Aha! So the Clippy log is not spitting out anything of use. So it's not being written to the Clippy log. let's go to Moonraker log and see if that shouldn't give us anything. All that should do is tell us about the web stuff. Let's just do a firmware restart and see if we can replicate it. Thinking and thinking and thinking. It's not coming back up. Give it another try. Klipper is attempting to start, it says on the screen. Hi Dat Mammoth. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. We're currently trying to chase down a gremlin in the system. Projects in Dad's Garage had identified an issue when he was running with Trixie that I hadn't encountered on one of my machines, but I'm now installing it on a Pi 4, and I'm starting to encounter the same issues that he was saying he was having. So that does at least prove he's not going completely and utterly mad. Shrimpfather's everywhere. Martin doesn't sleep. He's like, he's a vampire. It's almost Halloween. It's his time of the year. So I've just hit reboot on the machine, guys. Let's see. That one. Wrong way. That way, Phil. Martin is everyone. Is that like We Are Anonymous, Beardy? Come on. What's in our alerts? Let's see. And that's not rebooting. Let's rule out any other errors. So putting on the desk the test micro SD, which has Trixie on it. Booting up now with the known to be good Raspberry Pi OS. And 5.local. Oh, Tesla's mug. Now this one will only show command prompt because we haven't yet installed what am I thinking of? Clip screen. And now this isn't working either. What is going on? I'm seeing no power on the SKR Pico. Have I knocked something? There was no magic smoke. Just here to pump up the numbers. Thank you, Martin. It's all appreciated. There is no lights coming on the SKR Pico now. Let's shut this down. Give it a few moments. There's no smell of magic smoke, so I don't think I've blown it up. The 24-volt fan is on for the power supply, but I'm getting no 24-volt power to the tool headboard's not getting 24-volt power either. Tool headboard is powered separately to the MCU board. All right, guys, I think we're going to call it in terms of this software stuff. We can reproduce projects' error, so we know that that's at least on the right track. Let's do something sensible right now, and let's power off the printer, remove the screen. I'm going to wind up the bed manually. Next, I'm going to take my suitably sized Allen screwdriver and remove these screws. Let's go to side cam so you can see. That way. And I think we're going to call the stream in a few moments, but I just want to see what's going on in here, see if I can see any power output lights on the 24-volt supply in case I've blown it up. Which is not the end of the world if I have, because they're cheap, but something strange is going on. Maybe I've just blown a fuse. Hopefully that's all it is. Unplugging the mains inlet. Making sure that that's thoroughly shorted to make sure there's no stray voltages loose. That's secure. That's secure. So guys, there's not a lot I can do other than tell you what I'm doing, and that's looking at all the wiring, looking for any potential issues. I can't see any. I can't see any loose connections. So in goes the mains power. Now we have voltage to the toolhead board. And we have voltage to the SKR Pico. Actually, interesting fact for you guys. There's an RGB NeoPixel actually built into the SKR Pico. So what you can do is you can actually set that to come on as red during boot up, and then you can set it to white when it connects to Klipper, so that you know when the board it thinks it's actually attached to Klipper. So that's all working. I'm wondering if I just overloaded the power supply and it just took a few moments to sort itself out. Let's go 60C. What's the shutdown for? Lost connection with MCU. And there's no more power to the MCU. Strange. One last thing, because this has got me intrigued now, is let's multimeter the 24 volt power and see what's going on there. Now, if I die, call the local Australian emergency services. 911 doesn't work here. Over here, it's 000. So that's set to DC voltage. You guys can just about make out what's going on. Maybe if I turn the overhead light off and turn its screen light on. Not really helping. It's a little bit better that way. Now, I am only going to probe the 24 volts. I just want to see what's going on with the 24 volts. So that is voltage negative on the 24. This cable isn't long enough. You're just going to have to read it upside down, I'm sorry. "24 volt negative, 24 volt positive, and it's giving 26 volts. So it's not a power issue, it's an MCU issue. And it stops showing the 24 volt. Oh, it stops showing the power connected light on the SKR Pico when it does it. Shut it down. 24 volt power is drained. 5 volt power is drained. There's little LEDs which show you when the power is drained, but give it 10 more seconds. So this is a hardware issue we're having at this point, guys. It's definitely not software. And the SKR Pico isn't connecting again. Oh well, maybe we still need to chase this down a little bit more, but I'm going to do this offline. I'm not going to drag you guys through it. This has been an adventure. I have been Phil. This has been a very long stream of me waffling to myself and doing strange things with Raspbian Trixie. We've not definitively shown whether this was a Trixie issue or an other issue. So at this point in time, I'm going to leave this as an open question. Initially, I was thinking that we had proven project's issue and it was a software thing, but now we're getting exactly the same thing with normal Raspbian Bookworm. So anybody's guess at this stage. I am going to do the rest of this all offline. I have been Phil. I have been the Down Under Maker. I am very confused right now, and I will see you all next week. Bye, guys.